Hello, and welcome back to Diecast Graveyard. My name is Paul. Thanks for joining me today. We've got a nostalgic build. We have here a Hot Wheels Redline Splittin image. Now this car was released in 1969. This is the second series of Redlines that was released by Hot Wheels. Now I think everybody that's older had at least one of these cars in their collection. And these cars were pretty fast because they were pretty heavy when it comes to racing down the track. So they were pretty cool. I picked this up off of eBay for a song and a dance and got a really good deal on it. We're going to go ahead and restore this, but we're going to do a color change and it's going to be a really cool build. So grab your favorite adult beverage, or if you don't drink, grab a Coke or a coffee or a tea or whatever and join in and sit back and relax with today's build.
It's time to start the autopsy.
I've already got the post drilled out, so let's go ahead and take the car apart and evaluate what we have here. The car's in actually pretty good shape except for the missing engine. Here's the body, and again it's not in too bad a shape. The posts are both short on this one, so we're going to be using some small screws. Since this is an original Redline, we're going to be using the 1-72 screws with the 1/8 inch length. The base is in pretty good shape, but it's got some tarnish on there, so we're going to definitely have to clean that up. And we're going to go ahead and replace the tires. Interior's in good shape, we just got to clean that up. And the windshield's not bad either, we're going to go ahead and polish that up and clean that up. Let's go ahead and continue. Again, here's the base. Now, like I said, the posts on these are pretty short, so you've got to be careful when you're drilling these posts out. Take your file and just take off the little edge that you made when you drilled the car apart. Take off as little as possible just to make sure that it's flat so you can go ahead and put the base and the body back together without it sticking to each other. That's coming along nice. Like I said, you don't want to take off too much, but you do want it to lay nice and flat when you put it back together. Looking good. We're going to have to go ahead and drill those out soon. But again, we're going to be using the 1-72 screws. So when we go to drill this out, we're going to use the 1/16 inch drill bit. Let's go ahead and make sure that we have a really nice indentation in the post for the drill to follow, because you don't want your drill wandering on these posts. The posts are very, very narrow, and if you slightly get off center of the post when you're drilling it, you're going to blow it out, and then you're going to start saying some curse words. So again, make sure that the little indentation from your center punch is nice and centered in there. And there's today's tip from your Uncle Paulie. Now I've seen people with the drill bit way out there at the very end of the drill chuck. If you put it in close like you see here, you're going to have a lot more stability when it comes to the drill. If you happen to drill with that drill bit way out there, it wobbles some and you could again blow out your post. So take that in mind when you're trying to drill these posts out. You definitely don't want that to blow out your post or possibly snap your drill bit. Keep track of how deep you're going when you're drilling out these posts so you don't drill a hole in through the bottom of the car and out through the top. Again, that's another occasion for you to be saying some curse words if that happens. Check your depth continuously to make sure you're not going to drill all the way through. Now you're going to be using the short screws on this, the 1-72 and the 1/8 inch length. Now when you go to screw these in, you don't have to tap these smaller screws, but just make sure you don't, what's the word I'm looking for here? Make sure you don't strip the top of the screw out when you're putting them in. All right, we got the screws in, no problem there. Let's go ahead and get the old paint off this car. Here I'm using my embalming fluid, also known as citrus strip. Now the formula has changed over the years, but it still works. It might not be as efficient as some of the older or the other paint strippers, but it's cheaper and it does work well. You just may have to let the car sit a little bit longer than normal, but hey, you know, for a few more minutes you're going to save some money on that stripper. Let's let that set and we'll get back to it and we'll clean it off. We've cleaned off the car with Zep degreaser. Now we're getting ready to change the paint color. And here we're going to go with a Spectra Flame Magenta. This is an absolute beautiful color, and I got this color from the Redline shop. The Redline shop has all those beautiful Spectra Flame paints. They've got decals for your older Redline restorations, and they've got the original or replacement Redline wheels. So check out the Redline shop today, and you know, you can use these Redline Spectra Flame paints for your newer projects too, to give them that Spectra Flame look. So please go ahead and check out the Redline shop today. Put on a light mist coat here with this magenta that I'm using, and we're going to let it set here in a moment for about 15 minutes. That way there, it'll give it time to tack up, or as they call this, the tack coat. And then we'll come back in, we'll give it a few more coats, and then we'll give it a real final nice saturation coat to give it that beautiful gloss look. And that magenta paint looks fantastic. Let's move on. Here, instead of dipping it in the Lime-A-Way water, we're going to use this Flitz Metal Pre-Clean. Now I've got this box on my desk, and we're going to go ahead and spray the car down with this Metal Pre-Clean. Now you don't want this stuff to set. As soon as you spray it on, get in there with your brass brush, and use a brass brush, not a steel one, and get in there and scrub that down. This stuff works almost instantaneously, but this brush that you're using is going to go ahead and help you get this base clean. Make sure you're wearing your safety gear, your glasses, your gloves, etc., and get in there and scrub it with that product, and it's going to take off all that tarnish and make it look good. But like I said, it's going to get the tarnish off. You're still going to have to come in and polish that. Okay, let's go ahead and get it off to the sink, and we'll get it rinsed off with soap and water. Now here's what we got. It took off that tarnish really, really nice. So pick up some of that Flitz product today. Go to the Flitz website, and when you're done to check out, use the word graveyard for 20% off any Flitz product off their website. Now we're going to polish it up with the Flitz polish. Make sure that you only use a little bit, because a little bit goes a long way. You can always add more, but if you're using a lot of the product, all you're doing is wasting it. And you don't have to have the high speed setting on your polishing tool either, because then all you'll do is burn the product and it will give you a nasty result. So take your time, low speed on your Dremel or your polishing machine, and use just a little bit of the Flitz. And this is going to make this turn out fantastic. Just remember how tarnished it was, and when we get this thing wiped down, what it looks like. Let's go ahead and speed this up. There we go. That looks fantastic. Check that out. Now if you want to, you can get in there with a toothbrush to get all the black residue off the base. Now it's time to put some new wheels on the car. I got these wheels also from the Redline shop. I got 2 of them off pretty easy, but 2 of them just wouldn't come off, and you definitely don't want to force it. So I got these little snips, and I got this at Harbor Freight. So go ahead and cut it as close to the bearing as possible without digging into the bearing, and get those old tires off there. You don't want to take the chance of pulling those bearings up right off your car and breaking your axle. That looks good. So let's put these new ones on. I've got 2 large meats for the back and 2 medium meats for the front. These reproduction wheels are fantastic, and again, I got these from the Redline shop. Now there are several sources out there and they're all really great quality, but the Redline shop has some really great stuff to offer you. Now that you've got your wheels on, let's go ahead and get this Hot Wheels Redline bearing tool, and let's get it on there between the tire and the base, and we're going to push it on with your thumb. Put that over the axle between the bearing and the base, as you see here, without messing it up, of course. And then push the tire on with your thumb. Repeat this over the other 3 wheels that you have. Now sometimes you might not be able to get that tool in there, so just go ahead and push the wheel on, but really be careful because you definitely don't want to bend that axle. Now that we got this all set and those wheels look great, let's go ahead and polish up that base one more time. We'll wipe it down with a cloth and we'll make that look good. Get yourself one of these tools from the Redline shop also. Good stuff. Now let's see what we got here. Here we've got the body with that beautiful Spectra Flame magenta. That turned out really great. I love these Spectra Flame paints. And there's the hardener that goes into the paint to get it activated to make sure that that paint sticks and looks fantastic. We detailed up the taillights in the back. Here's the base all polished up with these brand new Redline wheels. That looks fantastic. Here's the windshield. We polished that up. That looks pretty good. And here's the interior. That looks fantastic too. I got this engine off of another car and I polished it up, and then I put some Molotow chrome pen on there, and that turned out fantastic too. Again, don't forget your stuff at the Redline shop. They've got a lot of great stuff there, so please go check them out. Let's go ahead and give our creation life.
Lies! Lies, do you hear me? Give my creation lies!
And here's what we started with. This Hot Wheels Redline Splittin image. This car again was released in 1969, the second series of the Hot Wheels Redline cars. We took the car apart, we stripped off the paint, we painted the body a beautiful Spectra Flame magenta. We polished up the base using those wonderful Flitz products, and we put brand new wheels on there also from the Redline shop, and just had a great time restoring this car. Now these are what they call filler cars. Now, a lot of guys will say, oh, don't touch them, you know, it'll ruin the value of them. You know what, right now, it's not worth 25 cents. But I polished it all up and I painted it and I replaced the wheels, and this is an incredible addition to my collection. What a beautiful restoration job we did here. Let's go ahead and see the results. And here's what we got to. Look how beautiful this car looks. I would definitely rather have this car in my collection than that old beater that we had there just a little while ago. Again, we put that Spectra Flame magenta on there, brand new wheels, a new engine with the Molotow chrome pen, polished up the glass, detailed the taillights. Man, this car turned out absolutely fantastic. And as I always say to you folks, you can do this too. Follow my videos. Check out my playlist in the how-to section. how to take a car apart, how to prepare your car for paint, how to paint your car, how to select an airbrush, how to select a compressor, how to make your own custom cards. This is all good stuff, and there's plenty of other folks out there that have got tips and tricks for you to help you do your restoration and customization hobby. I absolutely love this hobby. Thank you for joining me today on Diecast Graveyard. We've got a lot more videos coming up in the future, so go ahead and hit that subscribe button. And thank you again for joining me here today. If there's something you'd like to see, put it in the comments. Thank you, and cheers.